Hi there. I'm Hanne Nuutinen, the Channel Business Podcast host. And as you can see, I am out here in the woods. And why I'm here is something that I want to share with you now. The Channel Business Podcast that I'm hosting is all about sharing ideas, business tips and insights for leaders, future business owners, and every person who wants to develop your own ideas and thoughts and practicalities, the methods to take businesses and your leadership skills forward. But what is special about being here up in the woods is that Channel Business Podcast is taking part to Superwood Festival, which is all about Northern Oddity. It's all about combining different arts, music, industries, businesses, people from different backgrounds and different interests together to make new critical thoughts, ideas, and innovations forward, and just to have fun and relax. So I was truly excited when Paula Suhonen, the person behind the brand called Ivana Helsinki and the organizer of Superwood Festival, asked me to join with my podcast, Channel Business Podcast, to be part of the Superwood Festival in year 2022. So what we did there at the Superwood Festival in the woods and with the Northern Oddity and the Scandinavian Design Studio was that we are diving into business topics with Finnish entrepreneurs from different industries.
There's always a person in a company marketing or selling to a person in the other company.
So it's people to people business.
It's always people to people.
Yeah.
You know, businesses don't do business together. There's also
it's people
a person.
who does business together,
I mean,
right?
You know that if there's an asshole in some company, you don't want to deal with them,
exactly.
Even if their product is good. It's absolutely the same for consumers.
You will get to hear some business tips, insights, lessons learned, and I hope that some new ideas how to take your business forward or how to take your leadership forward. So let's dive into the woods and see what the episodes will give to you. Welcome to the Channel Business Podcast with Hanne. Today, this episode is about marketing and going global with the marketing. And I have a special guest here who I could be more proud of, a friend and business associate to mine. We've done a few things together and I'm so happy that you came here to talk about marketing because you've got such a nice experience, a variety of different experiences throughout the marketing. And the guest today here is Katja Presnal from Presnal 5 and many different companies. You're going to tell us a little bit more about that. But warm welcome, Katja.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. And one of the latest what we did together, you were in my book. So I interviewed you in my book. So you were featured in Big Rich Money. So that's one of the latest.
That's one of the latest what we've done together.
One of the latest, yes.
Yeah, there's many years. But let me tell you a little bit of who is sitting next to me on the couch. Katja Presnal is a business and marketing strategist and a talk show and podcast host at Cross Movement. This is something new what you are doing. Katja broke through as an influencer and social media pioneer back in 2008 when she was building Walmart's world's leading digital strategy for influencer marketing. She worked for a marketing agency called Collective Bias, helping to build one of the largest influencer marketing agencies in the US. You have won 7 American Advertising Awards, and you've appeared in different magazines such as New York Times, Forbes, and Advertising Age, and you've been speaking many different conferences around the world. And I just can't even tell. You've been in all the continents.
No, it doesn't even sound like me when I hear it even like this.
But that's true.
But it's all true.
It's all
really
true.
All
and
is true.
That is one of the best things about you, what I like, and that's why I wanted to have you here. But you moved back to Finland a few years ago, and your passion now is to help Finnish companies to grow and understand more about the marketing. and gain the international success, what you've been part of doing the last years. But as you mentioned, you also have written a few books. Big Rich Money is one of them. Mm-hmm. And then before that, you wrote something. What was that called?
Instagram as your travel guide to the world.
And that was many
yeah,
years
like
ago.
something like who, how, and what to follow on Instagram to discover the world, or something like that. I don't even remember.
It was something like that.
But it's so funny though, because it was 10 years ago, and
Yeah.
it was how you can use Instagram as a search engine, and how you can like learn authentic experiences around the world and people. And now people are talking like, oh, young people are using TikTok as a search engine. So a lot of these things that pretty much summarizes how I have been pioneering and doing a lot of the things that, you know, now they are catching up.
Exactly, yeah.
With
The
a lot
other
of people,
platforms.
you know, 5 or 10 years later. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
That's amazing. And the latest book, what you wrote, is called, let me check it here, Human-Centric Automation.
Yes, it's something like
Correct.
human-centric automation and other marketing trends you should know for 2023.
Okay, so that is exactly what we are going to dive in today more.
Yeah.
So, tell us and the audience, what is marketing today? What you should focus on?
Like said, you know, well, first of all, when people ask me what's my specialty in marketing,
Yeah.
I always say that actually my specialty is people. So you can never forget people and psychology. You know, you can never forget who you're marketing to. And even if you
so
talk,
true.
even in B2B marketing, there's always, like my dad taught me in the 80s, that most important business and marketing lessons I've gotten from my dad, that, you know, there's always a person in a company marketing or selling to a person in the other company. That
So it's people to people
it's
business.
always people to people.
Yeah.
You know, businesses don't do business together. There's also
It's people
a
who
person.
does
yeah,
business
yeah.
together,
I mean,
right.
You know that if there's an asshole in some company, you don't want to deal with them,
Exactly.
even if their product is good.
That is so true.
It's absolutely the same for consumers. If the company values or the company founders' values are something that you don't align with, you know, you don't want to buy from that. Like 50% of customers today or consumers today, they buy from companies that align their values with your
Exactly,
values.
they are very aware of what the companies do. Who are the people behind the companies, right?
Exactly, and what kind of things that you're choosing to do. Like just recently, like a lot of, we have the holidays are coming, and obviously typically in marketing, like Black Friday is a super popular sales day, and everybody wants to sell Christmas gifts. But now the trend is actually the opposite. The people, the companies who want to showcase that actually people are important for us, they close their stores for Black Friday.
Really?
They don't have that. They don't want to participate to these consumer, you know, type of campaigning anymore. And, you know, wanting, because, you know, typically when you have like Black Friday sales, they sometimes stores open at 6 o'clock in the morning in the US.
And very, very late in the evening.
And very late. Yeah. And, you know, it is a super busy time for retail. But, you know, so there are a lot of things that different brands are doing today, showing that, hey, we are caring about not
our
just
employees.
Yes, exactly.
Customers.
It's not just about, oh, customers, you are important. We also care about our employees. So
I like that. So this is one of the newest trends about marketing that they are taking care of. And
well, like I said, I learned this from my dad from the 80s. So it's nothing new, you know. And, you know, now we have just, I think social media brought it that there is a possibility to do more this type of communication, that even large brands, they can talk directly to you. So now we have been just with technology, we have been just able to scale kind of like the personal type of, you know, marketing and sales. But in that sense, we are talking about it more now. But everything that what we have learned about marketing, you know, 20, 30, 50 years ago, a lot
still
of
exists.
Yeah, those still are very valid. Now we just have new channels. We have more channels. we have
Correct.
technology, we have artificial intelligence, and now we are, first we had just internet, and then we had social internet, the Web 2, and now we are on the edge starting Web 3 revolution.
And I've heard Web 5 that is very, very popular now, that it's coming more and more as a trend. And even not that very many people know about it. But
exactly. So we have to think like how we are able to always keep that human aspect, how we are able to keep that, and how we are able to scale it, and how we are able to help people better with the bots or with artificial intelligence or things like this.
Right. So tell us a little bit more of that, because I think that is very interesting for me to learn, but also for the audience to understand. So what do we need to look and have in the marketing when reaching out to further, when we are going beyond the let's say impossible or the norm that there has been? You mentioned artificial intelligence. And
like that. We should be looking at different, like how can we use technology,
as a help,
as a help, but without forgetting the human interaction.
Right.
There's saying that it's not what we can do. Technology and even digital marketing and social media, it can do a lot of things.
And now we are just discovering.
Yeah, it's what should we do?
I like that question.
It's not what we can, because that's so wide. We can do anything, It's just, engineers will just build anything pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's what we should do. And that's why when we talk about technology and digital marketing, we should never forget the human aspect, that what should be doing and how we can use the technology for good,
Not just to as a channel to put things out, but what you can use it to be aligned with the values of the company that you are working for or working with, and how does that resonate to the people who are in the company, but also those who are your customers, your partners. All
exactly.
That.
And like one aspect is, for example, employer branding and employee advocacy programs. So currently, like for example, in B2B marketing, 80% of companies are going to have different type of employee advocacy programs, meaning that how can they unleash the power of people in their organizations? Because now, because consumers and buyers, we want to buy from companies where people are happy working. We don't want to buy from shitty companies where people hate their jobs. So now the next challenge is like, how can we include everybody in that sense in sales and marketing without it being like, oh, copy paste this company message? Because actually that's really bad marketing, and that's really, and that like nobody wants to do that. That doesn't touch people,
Exactly. And it's all about marketing. What I've learned, at least, and what I've been doing with the marketing is to create the experience, create some sort of feeling that resonates who you are as a person, who you are as a leader, a mother, or whatever roles we have.
Exactly. And when companies they are doing different maybe like charity work, or they do different types of employee activities, or even boot camps or whatnot, they want their employees to show it. But at the same time, I think there are a lot of people are like, oh, why should I be doing marketing for free? I'm not even a marketing person for my company. Right. But so I understand that aspect of that. But in today's day and age, we also, every single person, we have to think of our personal brands. Like you can't
and that's
really
a totally different concept and meaning.
It's different,
today.
But it's the yin and yang. It's the flip side of employer branding. So if you cannot be proud of the work that what you're doing, why you're working in that company.
Exactly,
right?
And why the clients should buy those products or services.
Yeah,
if you don't like them yourself.
So all of these, they all are very, very different concepts, like you said, but they are very closely together. Like all of this like quiet quitting, what we
Yeah.
are talking today, and these are all very closely, and that's probably the biggest thing that every marketer or every CEO actually, not just the marketing people, but every CEO and a founder and C-level person in every company should know. Like, what are all of these big topics? Not just going to some trends or like tactical or operative level, but what are all of these things that are moving people, on different paths, and how they connect
to different areas of life. So the marketing today is about going aligned with yourself and the company values, but also looking at whatever there is outside of the company, how the world runs and how the world functions, and put all of that into your strategy. So that's what you should focus on. And what I heard, I had this discussion a couple of weeks ago with the really big company CEO, and he mentioned that what he is actually doing every week, he has a certain time there, was it 15 minutes or 1 hour, he goes through different newspapers or different things to look at what the world is doing today in different industries and how those are affecting into their business.
Exactly. And how they connect with each other.
Yeah.
It's really funny because, like, for example, when COVID was just like, it was just kind of like emerging, around the world.
Yeah.
And I do remember this one instance, what happened, that because I had booked some speaking gigs for that first COVID spring. And then I could just see, like, okay, it's moving there, and this is Asia, this is United States, this is Italy, like all of these pockets of things, what we're happening, and I was just like, okay, it's just a matter of days that it's gonna hit Finland, or matter of maybe a week or two.
Right.
So our family started preparing. I started preparing my businesses, like basically weeks before it got here. Like I had solid, like I knew that the moment that Finland went on lockdown, like I was just like, okay,
we're good.
I was prepared because I thought that a lot of the things were pretty obvious, So it wasn't really a big surprise. Like, okay, I could see that those things were already happening in other places. We're gonna be next. Like, there's no
And then you were adjusting things.
Yeah.
The marketing, whatever you were doing at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a solid plan that that I had started shutting things down, and I had a solid plan. Like, okay,
how to go forward.
This is what I'm gonna do this year. Not just next 2 weeks. This is what I'm going to do this year. Because that's another thing in marketing. Like, you have to be able to take on new things like this. Instantly jump on, even if it's a TikTok trend or a world news, it's old already tomorrow. World goes so fast.
And you cannot be just relying on the written strategy or whatever. It has to have the adjustability there.
Actually, the opposite. Yeah. What I was going to say, that you can't jump on today's trends and today's happenings when you have excellent strategy.
Yeah, so it should have the flexibility there.
Yes, when you have good strategy, you know where you're going, you know your weaknesses and your strengths and your big, long-term vision. Then you can take little detours on the way there.
And then you can jump.
You can do instead of gigantic pivots to something
which are very hard to do,
which are very hard and can be really stressful.
Yeah.
But when you know where you're going, like, this is who we are as a company, these are our strengths, then
so you still keep focusing on those, but you take whatever is happening around you.
Exactly, that you have to have that flexibility, but really have that long view that, okay, what is that why we exist in this world.
Exactly.
If it really is just like, okay, we existed in this world to try to make a good revenue in quarter 3 better than in quarter 2, then you have to jump all the time. But then you know which trends to take and which not. When you have a solid strategy, you have your company values and purpose.
So you mentioned the world there, and we've been talking about how the world functions and how you have to take that into marketing strategies as well, and the actions that you're doing. But tell us more about this. I like to touch base on this one, what you mentioned earlier. It's about people-to-people business. So how does the humor and the people come into marketing when you're doing locally or globally? What should the leaders?
Well, first of all, humor is actually a really difficult topic when you talk about that in a global perspective. And instead of actually, if I can take a little step back from the humor, because the most important part is the cultural understanding. So that is really aligned.
So that's the local part, what you need to understand.
And global. You know, you can't, like, you have to not, like, locally something can be really funny, or, you know, locally you can understand, like, you know, or whether it's humor or even religion or political views, you know, locally something can be okay or something can be really funny, but you can't translate something
that to somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else. That I think humor can actually be extremely difficult to translate and do globally, because you have to take so many different cultures and so many different, you know, so much diversity into the account when you're trying to do humor. That of course there are some things that, you know, translate, you know, but again, then it's superhuman. You know, it's like, you know, you see a little kid doing something funny and like, oh, you know, that's
the whole world likes that.
The whole world likes that. But of course there are some things that, you know, kind of make us all chuckle a little bit, but I think that is the biggest thing that you have to understand when you go from local to global, that you have to put your own like a conscious bias down. That you have to understand that what are your own biases, and you have to understand your own culture and what's the context of your own culture in your company, because you can't just translate something, you know.
No, like, and we all know that the diversity is there. We are all different and we come from different backgrounds. So you have to take that.
Exactly. And for example, when I was outside Finland for 20 years, I moved back to Finland 5 years ago. And my goal was really help Finnish companies to do more global marketing. And I saw a need for that. But now when I have been here, I don't think we need necessarily a marketing revolution. We need a cultural shift. So
in Finland, in the Finnish companies.
In Finnish companies. Like, how can we even think of, whether it's in Finland or any other country, how can we even think of doing global business if, for example, all of our people are from one country? One race, one religion, you know, all are about the same age, you know, if you don't, if everybody is same in your company. So I would say that the number one step for any company to be thinking of doing business globally
or internationally anyway.
Internationally, hire an immigrant. Hire an immigrant. Hire any type. Hire a person from another country. Learn to interact with people
who are different than you, different ages, different
and different culture from you. Groups. You know, so that's really, again, it all goes back to the, you know, understanding humans, the psychology. You know, so
and building the product and the services to that, what the people want and how do they react and behave towards your products, or if there's a need for that one. But okay, I want to go a bit further back to outside of Finland. Let's forget Finland for a little while, because like you mentioned, you've been 20 years or even more outside of Finland, and I know that you've traveled and lived in many different countries. So what would you say that from that perspective, the Finnish companies here, and I know from my own experience, it's the same in everywhere, but what we should learn about these different nationalities, different cultures? What are the takeaways there that you have learned over this period of time that we should learn, or we should focus on, or we should remember these kind of things, besides the diversity that you mentioned and the local versus global things what are happening there? What else?
Well, I honestly, I can't, if I keep it short, it really is just hiring diversity. Hiring diversity is number one, and not thinking that whatever you see, like in the movies or somewhere, that that's enough. That always collaborate and hire local people to collaborate with you when you are trying to enter a new market. That really is really in the essence to doing business internationally. That
To understand the local people.
To understand, and not just from cultural, aspect, not just from that, or not even from that, but the laws, the
Exactly, yeah.
So
Regulations.
So it can be very difficult to if you don't do your homework in multiple levels, obviously. So
this is the number one thing: how to shift from local to global, to understand the culture where you are entering, and hire a person from that cultural environment or that country, whatever you want to call it. But
but even years before that, you can practice it locally. It's just bringing on cultural diversity in your team. That really is just being able to deal with people from different walks of life, or different
backgrounds.
Different backgrounds, and cultural backgrounds, and demographic backgrounds.
I like that, and this leads to my next question. Like we mentioned earlier, you work with, for example, in US, you work with very, very big companies that is worldwide known, Walmart and Walt Disney. You've been part of their processes, their marketing channels or marketing processes, whatever you want to call them. What have you learned from those?
So I've never directly worked for either as an employee. I've worked together with them to see a little peek how these big companies do that. I would say that the customer experience is, and that goes again, customer experience.
We're going around this.
We go around. Customer experience is probably something that I have learned the most from for example, Disney. Like, nobody does customer experience better than Disney, and that is again going back to the human-centric automation.
Understanding how human behaves.
Understanding how human behavior works, and how you can make marketing and sales extremely personal and directly to you.
Because it's in the end, it's me who's experienced whatever it is, and then
not
it's
like
you
talking
who's experienced.
to all of you guys, Disney or Walmart or big companies, even though they talk to tens or hundreds of millions of people, they are like, oh, this is for all of you guys there. They don't talk like that. They are like, hey, you, today, what are you buying, chicken or beef? Or today, hey, Hanne, are you a Star Wars fan? It's directly to you. So I think, which is kind of funny, when small companies are trying to sound big, they usually talk, even if it's one entrepreneur, you're like, we do this, instead of like, hey, I'm the founder, I think of this, what about you?
So is this something what, for example, the Finnish companies should do and understand?
Well, I think it's understanding the customer service, that you have to talk to one person at a time, even when you're scaling it. Like Disney is using technology, automation. They are using that in so many different levels. Like, they have. They get you on every single part. Like, let's say you are planning a trip to Disney World. You are getting part of that experience weeks. The experience starts weeks before you even enter the park. There are so many different touch points, and the experience continues after you've already come home. And they are able to build on that. Same way, like, every single Disney movie is built with like transmedia storytelling and marketing. You have the movie, and then you have the merchandise, and then you have the video games.
So it goes in different levels.
It goes in different levels, and every time you feel like this was perfect for me. You know, it's like
so it touched me, and that was the personal
that
thing.
was like, oh, this was like made for me. Like it's like
and then that's a personal experience.
like,
what we
like,
should look for in
example,
marketing.
I like Mickey Mouse and I like cooking. So when I saw like Mickey Mouse, like what are these like pot holders for kitchen? So I was like, oh my God, these are like made for me.
You have to get them.
And you have to get them. So it's like
it creates also the need.
It creates the need. Like oh, this is exactly for me. Like you wouldn't think that there's a market for Mickey and Minnie salt and pepper shakers, right? But
well, it wasn't the first thing that came to my mind. No.
Exactly. But or that, you know, like somebody might like to play Pirates of the Caribbean video game for 5 hours, you know, like, oh, I want to jump from that boat, you know. So they make it seem really personal when they are like the story continues or the merchandise continues.
So they extend the journey, the marketing team, whatever the product or the service is.
Exactly.
To different areas of life, what we are personally going through every day.
Exactly. Like, did you know that Disney has they have a travel service. You can literally go to Norway and have Disney experience in Norway and live like Elsa from Frozen.
I see. That
you can go to southern Germany and go to the Princess Castle, which is the Neuschwanstein Castle.
Exactly.
You know, so Disney creates these. They merge their storytelling and all of that with real world, and many might think that that's
crazy.
That's crazy, and our company is really small. We can never do that. Like blah blah blah. But everybody can learn from that when you have your eyes open. And one of my favorite things to tell is that I was on a Disney cruise from Florida to Bahamas, and the waiter came and said that, what would you like to have for dessert?
Yes.
And I was so full that I was like, oh, nothing.
I can't
can't have anything anymore. Nothing. I received a plate that had Mickey Mouse drawn with chocolate and then the word nothing written on it.
What?
Like, okay, here's like, it was just like some vanilla sauce and then chocolate writing on top of it. Like, oh, you didn't want to have, you wanted nothing.
You wanted nothing, so here's nothing for you.
So here's nothing for you.
I love that story.
So anybody
who would make this extra mile, so to say, to do that sort of thing?
So a lot of it, same like I had online magazine called Skimbaco Lifestyle. I still sort of have it, but I haven't really done that.
But that's what you did while you were abroad.
But that's what I did in especially when living in US, and we touched base a lot of like what is luxury.
I see.
You know, like a Coca-Cola can be luxury when you're, you know, offered it in Sahara. You know? Like a cold towel is real luxury when you have just landed in Bali and you're sweating and, you know, you have all of your luggage and you have a driver waiting and giving you a cold towel. So it's always the context. So when companies say that, oh, we can't do.
So it just, what I hear here is that you kind of have to go through the whole journey, what the customer goes from the home sofa or wherever that surrounding the environment is, where that journey could start, and to the destination, whatever it is, to having the product at your home. Like now, I just have this, you mentioned the Mickey Mouse, the potholes. I just have this Mickey Mouse toothbrush now in my mind. So it goes like all this from kitchen to bathroom and
exactly.
bed linens and such things. But going to Bali and having all these experiences, so it's about understanding the whole journey and how your company, your services can build from that. So you're gonna have to think back, not just the one touching point that you need to drink and it's a Coca-Cola or whatever, or tea,
exactly,
or massage, but what can you do before and after, and in all
how
areas
can you
of
get
life.
that person, how the customer experience can be so good that you want to go back. How why you want to have 3 massages instead of 1, you know? Like
Exactly.
what makes you choose something? It's
Over and over again.
Over and over,
Yeah.
you know? And sometimes the customer experience or the caring, it's really about caring. It can be
Which is
something
the human to
really
human
small.
again,
Yeah,
people
which
to
is
people.
the human to human.
Yeah.
I think there is one, I can't now remember, maybe it's CoSchedule, like a social media scheduling tool. When you purchase their service, it gives you this, I think it's like a 2-minute video that they have taken with one camera, not edited,
Yeah.
where they go through their entire office.
So that's an authentic
and
thing.
their entire office is partying. And then
Okay.
it's just like, and then it ends up like the entire, all of their employees being like, thank you, we're so happy you bought from us. You know,
Wow.
like, even though it's just a video, but it feels like I want to watch it, you know, like, and
yeah.
like, what? They made this video, their
And
entire
now it's for me,
office,
yeah.
it's for me, you know. So,
I
so
get
it
that.
really
I
makes
get
you feel
that,
special, you know. And now,
Even
like,
though that you understand that it was made for
everybody,
everyone,
obviously.
but still,
But, like,
it's an effort that they give a thank you.
And now
Yeah.
with technology,
Yeah.
you could even make that video, or you can make that little thing that it's saying like, hey Katja, thanks so much for buying from us. And it can be done in an instant. So you can do scaled content production.
And
So
that's the new trend, like where we are. Well, I wouldn't say even a
it's
trend,
not-
but it's
yeah,
a way and a
it's
path.
nothing new. Like
Yeah.
we have gotten, you know, a catalog that has
Yeah.
a sticker on top of it that can say like your name, or you know,
Yeah.
like whatever. We've had the personalized, you
But
know.
now we're just using different tools and
Yes,
channels
exactly.
to do
Now
that.
we can use technology to make it feel more personalized, or we can have chatbots that
Yeah.
they remember you every time you log in, and they're like, "Hey, honey,
You're
last
here
time
again." Yeah.
hey, you bought that amazing blazer. We have pink shoes that match exactly with them." So you're like, "Oh,
All right,
I
yeah,
like
it was
it."
thinking of me, so I feel a little special now.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how, what? Oh, that was 3 years ago when I bought
But
that.
I
Like,
didn't
oh,
remember.
like,
But that's the technology, and that's
Yeah.
what we can learn from these different experiences.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
we've gone through.
Technology makes it possible for you to scale that personalized, you know, interaction, you know?
And this is something what I hear from you saying now, that here while we're sitting and talking about this, that this is the thing, no matter of the size of your company, no matter of the revenue that you are making now, but this is a possibility
It
if
is a
you are just
possibility.
keeping
Yeah,
your eyes and mind
exactly.
open.
Exactly.
Now we get the little this kind of smoky thing, one of the candles.
I know,
just,
it's like, oh, smoking
Yeah, so
hot.
that was smoking hot.
Yeah, we have a candle here that's just burnt down, and
It's
a little,
burned out,
yeah.
So it had this little thing.
Little
going
thing,
on.
like,
I like it.
yes.
That was a sign.
Yeah.
So that's smoking hot. so I remember that one. Towards the end of this nice conversation, I hope the audience has gotten some valuable tips and tools and things that they can use in the marketing nowadays. But tell us, like you mentioned, these are the things what we need to remember and take under consideration. But what can we still do more? I know that we had the little pre-discussion before this recording, and you mentioned the AI and technology, and you really want to talk about these huge things. Tell us a little bit more what you meant, so the audience also knows.
I think it really is going back exactly what I already said. I don't want to reframe it, but it really is that you, if we think of that, if somebody's listening and you are just now trying to learn marketing, or you are only trying to learn about technology, do not forget that human-centric side. Like study also maybe psychology, maybe also like copywriting is actually excellent for multiple different, you know, aspects. That learn something, sociology, you know, learn about cultures, anthropology, you know. So when you are doing all of these, you know, like I think you cannot be in a marketing today and not be into trying
People's
to
business,
and trying to understand the technology part, but do not forget the creativity or, storytelling or, don't forget those things that I think you will succeed in the future when you combine the human-centric and the, like you can't go wrong when you're focusing on people. But today, you have to learn the digital part. You have to learn the technology,
And combine those two
combine
that
those
fits into
two
your service
together.
and product, right?
Exactly. Like you have to combine that in your marketing, in your communications, because that's what people expect. People actually, consumers.
The personal touch.
Yeah, and they expect your brand to be everywhere where they are.
That's a good thing, but that's a hard thing to do. So, one tip for that one.
Well, it's the automation again. Like okay, you can use automation and you can generate a lot of content for every single platform. That's not a problem. But the problem is you get the problems when you only do that and you don't do the engagement and talking and the human touch. But definitely, of course, with your resources, if you can be on every channel where your customers are, by all means, try to do that. But it's still better to focus on doing even one channel extremely well and caring than trying to just spread
it out everywhere.
and
do nothing good.
Yeah, and do nothing good and only focus on like advertising and only doing that, because that's gonna be even more difficult in the future. We are now, for example, moving away from third-party data that so we cannot trust anymore getting all of the data and retargeting from Meta or Google or places like that. We have to start thinking of ways to collect first-party data that we can directly do that personalized marketing to our own audience. So we have to start thinking things like our newsletter list or loyalty programs.
So are they really touching the people who we want to engage with?
Yeah, and that that people want the personalized marketing.
Of course, I want that. I want a personal service when I go somewhere.
Exactly, we all want to feel special. So if you focus how you can try to scale that
into different levels, different areas of life.
Different levels, but the personalized messaging, even when you're doing it scaled. And honestly, like influencer marketing is one example. You don't have to do, you as a company don't have to do all of it. Or like you as a marketing person in your organization don't have to do all of it.
And that's what you, for example, did in different areas around the world.
Exactly.
You were one of the influencers.
Exactly, like one of the first large-scale influencer program in the world was built for Walmart. So we had 20 influencers that were part of the program, and instead of Walmart telling some news,
you were the storytellers.
We were the storytellers. We all
users,
reached,
the clients.
Like I had around 100,000, 200,000 readers on my blog, so I was telling the story. And
your personal experiences, you were sharing
from
it.
my personal perspective, So you are able to make it feel extremely personal to people when it's somebody else telling. Exactly the same way like the employee branding.
So it's like, being relatable.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. People want to feel like, oh, I relate to this.
I see. Good. I think that's a good way to end it. Being relatable. How we can feel relatable with the services and products. What we are doing.
just care more. Like that. That really is. Just
be
just
a person to another person.
Yeah.
And just lead from there, right?
Yep.
Great. Before we end this totally, where people can find you if they want to work with you or learn from you or get the books or different things that you've done throughout the years?
So I'm on all social media networks as Katja Presnal, KatjaPresnal.
And that's a Finnish name, which...
And then and my websites are bigrichmoney.com and crushmovement.com. So you can learn more about me on those websites.
And be in contact with you
Yes,
also.
yes, absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and knowledge with me and with the audience that we have here. I love this conversation. It was full of energy and different tips. So I hope the audience also got those. Thank you so much, Katja.
Thank you.
Thank you.